Good afternoon, everybody. I want to open the session. Thank you all for being here with us today. We are very happy to have our third seminar. We have this small but always focused annual seminar. And we try to focus on a different theme each year, and hopefully this can grow in the future to be a bit more than a short seminar. Anyway, I would like to first to present. We have three speakers: Professor Remy Wang from Docomomo, Taiwan, architect Alexander Lowe from the Cultural Bureau, and architect Francesca Carlotta Bruni from LBA, Macau practitioner. And we think that this model is interesting to have, to try to cover the international invited speaker, somebody from the practice and somebody from the government, because we think that what is really the focus of how we can deal with our challenges of heritage and heritage protection and conservation has to do with what happens on the two sides of practice and of policy. And this is even in a small place like Macau, which is like a big village, this dialogue sometimes is not so easy or so obvious. And I hope that with today's presentation we can throw some light into that. So I would like to start by presenting our first speaker, Remy Wang. Professor Remy Wang is an assistant professor at the Department of Architecture at National Taipei University of Technology, and he specializes in history of modern architecture and protection of cultural heritage. He, with his team of a group of architects, formed the Taiwan chapter in 2012, and this was basically the same time that Hong Kong Docomomo, Macau Docomomo, and China Docomomo were created. And also, I must say that we are very happy to have here with us the chair of Docomomo Hong Kong, Professor Cecilia Chu. Professor Remy studied architecture in Taiwan and then in Paris at the National School of Belleville, Paris-Belleville, and also made his PhD in the section of the urban territory in the School of Advanced Studies in Social Science, heading his research on French Indochina for its cities and architecture. Without further ado, Professor Remy.
Thank you, Rui, and thank you, Docomomo Macau, for inviting me to Macau here. I just know that I have only 25 minutes of presentation, but I prepared for some 250 slides. And I'm still working this morning for the presentation. I try to introduce some cases because we just prepare for the dossier of Docomomo Taiwan, and we just handed in before the conference in Lisbon. And so I would like to introduce you. Maybe some of you are very familiar to the situation, architectural phenomena here in Macau and in Hong Kong. And Taiwan, I think some moments in 1950s, 60s, even 70s or 80s are very related to Hong Kong, a little bit less than Macau, with Macau. So maybe I'll show you the architectural phenomenon influenced by the modern movements in Taiwan. Maybe you might know that Taiwan has been colonized by Japan during 50 years, from 1895 to the end of the World War II. So in the beginning, Japan bring to Taiwan some modernization on the society, on the infrastructure, and on architecture. This is what they built in Taiwan in the beginning of the 20th century. This is the palace of Governor General of Taiwan, and now is our palace of presidents of Taiwan. If you prefer Republic of China, I don't know. Anyway. And this is a competition opened in the beginning of the 20th century and won by a professor of the University of Tokyo, or Tokyo Imperial University, who has been sent to London to learn architecture, and he bring to Japan, to a metropolitan, some more classical European architecture in the end of the 19th century and in the beginning of the 20th century. And also, this is today. This is we call it a control yuan. Control yuan, that means control every functionaries. They are terrible police of our functionaries. And at that time, when Japanese built this building, it was designated to be the palace for the Taipei County in the beginning. Also pretty classical. You can see all kind of classical details in this building. And this is a hospital. Today is a hospital of National Taiwan University. Also built in 1910, in 1910s, or 1910s and 1920s. The palace of Tainan County, built in Tainan, now in the south, now is becoming a museum of literature in Tainan now. It's a national museum. And suddenly, in the end of the 1920s and in the beginning of the 1930s, they begin to have some architects bring some different concept of architecture to Taiwan. You see that architect, his name is Kaoru Ide. Kaoru Ide is formed in Imperial University of Tokyo by Condor, British architects, Condor and I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce it. Well, I'll try to communicate with you later. And he was sent to Taiwan and built a series of architecture which is not so much European, with less detail, but a little bit more influenced by modernists, or more by the Architectural, influenced by Architectural in 1920s. And this is also by Kaoru Ide. He built this. It's an assembly hall of Taipei City. Now in Taipei, still is classified as a historical monument. And also by him, Kaoru Ide, built in 1937. Now today it was designated for the city hall of the city of Taipei, and today is office for Executive Yuan, that means for the prime and his colleagues. And we selected some buildings which is more influenced by modernists in the end of in 1930s. For example, this is Taipei Municipal Zhongshan Girls High School, also built in 1937, classified as municipal historical monuments in 1997. Formerly it was a third girl high school during Japanese rules. And you can see this building with a little bit less or a lot less detailed architectural details or classical architectural details, more and more influenced by the modern movement, by its only by the proportion and with less detail, etc. And also it's a moment. I mean, 1930s is a very key moment for the changing constructive system from brick system to a reinforced concrete system. This is the entrance hall of the high school. You can see those details. It was the beginning in the stairs. And 1938 in Tainan, also in the south of Taiwan, they built this. It was an office, government office, public office building, and now today is designated for a fire department of the city of Tainan. As we might see that they begin to put some more. I mean, it's begin. I mean, the spatial composition on the plans is becoming more and more asymmetrical. Instead of that, what I showed you just now, the palace of the Governor General or the hospital, etc. But it's becoming the beginning of the influence of modern movements, but not yet there. And also built in 1937, today is a Songshan tobacco manufacturer. At the time, it's Matsuyama Tobacco Manufacturer, belonged to the Bureau of Monopoly by the Governor General of Taiwan, Japanese, of course. Well, but the space is totally symmetrical, but we can see that because of the change of the constructive system, the detail is changing, and it's a little bit more like the high school. We can see more and more details. Still, I mean, the space is still very classical, but some details becoming to have some influence of the modern movement. This is a protective monument. It's a Taipei train shed. It's owned by the Bureau of Railways. We just classified it last year as a National Historical Monument. The whole site is situated in the center of Taipei. At that time, it was outskirts of Taipei city, but now because of the urban sprawl, it's becoming the center of Taipei. And the Bureau of Railway, they wanted to tear it down and to build new buildings. And we try to protect. We mean doesn't mean Docomomo. We just means we and Chinese people try to have it classified, and now it's classified as a national historical monument. Those are pictures I took it before the classification. that the church was still running for the maintenance of the trains, etc. Some more or less an industrial heritage. You can see that they were still they are making their the parts in place and try to replace the used parts of the trains. And okay, and after World War II, as you might know, that Chiang Kai-shek and Kuomintang came to Taiwan. Kuomintang or the Republic of China took over Taiwan after World War II. But Chiang Kai-shek and Kuomintang came to Taiwan and in 1949. But in the beginning of the 1950s, Taiwan is becoming, I mean, especially after World War II, is a very poor country, and they hardly have something built after World War II, especially for the first decades of World War II. But somehow, I mean, in 1953, in Taichung, in the middle of Taiwan, they planned to build another university by a Christian association that want to have a Christian university in Taiwan. And they use the money more or less by the church and by the beginning of USA. The plan is very interesting. The campus was planned by Liu Mingpei, Bei Yumin, and Chen Qikwan, his colleagues, and Zhang Zhaokang. Zhang Zhaokang, I don't know if he left anything here in Hong Kong or in Macau, but he firstly he worked in Shanghai, then he worked in we heard that he had been working in Hong Kong for a while, then he went to Taiwan. He's a very interesting person that I will show you. It's the beginning of the plan. During or before the World War II, or during the World War II, they were about to plan to build another university, Christian university in China, and the plan was made by Gropius and IMK in the beginning during World War II, and they when the Kuomintang came to Taiwan, they want to use the same campus plan and to build a new campus in Taiwan to use the same design, and was executed by Liu Mingpei and Chen Qikwan. This was a painting, a Chinese painting of the campus of the plan, of course, done by Chen Qikwan as well. I will show you Chen Qikwan's project later on. And they have a series of building. I think at the time they were not thinking of building a modern campus or a modern architecture, even by Gropius for his former original campus plan for China. It was not that modern, as a little bit influenced by Chinese architecture. And especially at the time, in the 1950s, when they built this, when they planned this campus, and they tried to build those buildings for the universities, office and some department buildings. They are thinking of the courthouse, Chinese courthouse. So you can see the composition of the plan is completely influenced by the courthouses of the Chinese traditional courthouses. And somehow, also in the campus, aside of the main axis, they have some dormitories. And dormitory, they don't need that strong axis, so they try to have this a little bit more modern composition that try to we see here try to not following the central axis and try to open the space in the corner, especially to have this diagonal openings, and this one, and this one, etc. For those are drawings published in architectural magazine in the beginning of 1950. This is the main axis done by Remy Wang, and one of the group of buildings done at that time in from 1953 to 1955, I think. And we can also see those details. They are simplified, or they try to build with brick construction, a little bit use reinforced concrete, and sometimes still using wooden construction, like you see the corridor here. And you can see some of the details. That what you see here is simplified Chinese architecture. It's not modern architecture, but they try to make it modern. As, we have the visit of Anna Tosois. And also Chen Qikwan, the architects who planned the campus with Remy Wang, he made this another group of architecture that use reinforced concrete. This building or these buildings are designated for the Department of Music. And this was a picture we took while Anna and Yamana, Docomomo, Japan, visited Taiwan in the beginning of June of this year. They moved out the whole department and tried to remodel the building. And someone took the picture of this building maybe three weeks ago. They put this beam in between and make it the whole stuff, make the service system, and try to make a new ceilings, a new platform. And those pictures was making a shock to Taiwanese architects, especially for those who have been studying in Docomomo University. Because Docomomo University, their department of architecture was regulated or regarded as one of the best department of architecture in Taiwan. We got shocked. So we are protesting for preserving the building. Now we are forcing some architects, especially the alumni by Docomomo University, they are gathering together, try to protect those buildings, because school, the university, they didn't want to be classified as historical monument, neither to be classified as historical buildings as well. This is a former library of the university. Okay, so 1950s, in the beginning of construction, many of the buildings are made by or initiated by churches, different schools, churches, Protestant, or Catholic, or even Freemason. They have the building here. This building is not classified or not protected, but it was done by an architect, his name is Zhen. And Zhen, later he founded the Department of Architecture in Zhou University, where I studied architecture. And this is a building that he tried to, but he made it for Freemason, the headquarters of Freemason. So we visited the right next to the group. And as you see here, is St. Christoph Church, the Catholic church, built in 1957. Street, very near to the headquarters of U.S. Army at that time. It's the form, the money comes from USA, and of course they appointed an American architect, named Anthony Stoner, to finish the building. And we have those architectural drawings. Now documented and scanned by the National Museum of Taiwan. Systematically, we try to collect the architects from the 20th century of Taiwan. What you see here is a plan. Facade here and the section down here. But unfortunately, they made they changed the surface of the building. It's becoming that modern. It's becoming more or less a little bit more postmodern for the color. But interior is still original. And we can see how Anthony Stoner tried to solve the problem with the isolated structure from the wall, etc. That really showed this building when he visited Taiwan in June. And this is the back of the church. Also, we see this system for ventilation in Taiwan because it's hot and it's getting hotter and hotter. Without air conditioning, we don't survive in summer. But I think for this St. Christoph Church, the most interesting thing is the stairways. And we see the details of the stairway. Stoner tried to isolate it. Each step and leaving the whole stairway with a beam and three different details. But at the same time, in 1958, I want to show the structure. Okay, this is the beginning. This was a jinja, a Japanese temple, built by a Japanese architect. It was built in reinforced concrete with a dome. And when John Paishet came to Taiwan, he tried to put everything, every building with a Chinese detail. So they make it to look a little bit more Chinese. And he met the architects, Lu Yijun, to build this science building in this academy park. The architect, Mr. Lu, he tried to imitate the Temple of Heaven of Beijing. And it happened that this building is situated in the axis to the south of the palace of the president. That he tried to recreate some memories of Beijing by building this building. Strangely, this architect, he studied urban planning in France, not architecture, but somehow he became architect. And he tried to, he showed some interesting detail, like for example this stairway with ramps. This is the most important and most interesting details that he made a stairway winding up and then replaced by a ramp. But the whole detail, I mean, the rest of the details in the building is very Chinese. This is the whole, I mean, designated originally for the focal pendant. I'll try to go very fast. And somehow at the same time, in the 1960s, some churches built this series of many buildings. This is by a Catholic church of high school by Hinton, architect from Switzerland. We have the documentation of the building. And somehow I think he is very influenced by the Corbusier. I'm not sure if he is French speaking or German speaking. And another building is built by in the south of Taiwan, 1961 by Prof. is still alive. He is a Pritzker prize winner. That he made a church with some symmetrical composition of the building with the two pyramids in the middle here and the iconic form, the two different iconic form here we see. Okay. And then Wang Dahong, he built his very first public building in Taiwan by USA. A series of buildings was initiated at that time in the end of the 1950s and beginning of the 1960s. Wang Dahong was very good architect. He built a lot of public building because his father was very close to Chiang Kai-shek and a very important person in the hometown. Also, he's been someone who is in charge of the foreign affairs at the time. But he's also a very interesting architect who studied his architecture with IFT in Harvard University. They are classmates. They try to come back to Taiwan to build a lot of buildings. And he also tried to introduce some traditional Chinese space, architectural space into a modern building, like what we see here, some different layers and transparency with this brick system, etc. And we can find easily some kind of courtyard building. It's a two-story full-floor building, and then even the details, you can see that we try to make it modern Chinese. And the other architect, Zhang Zhaokang, that we mentioned just now, built another agricultural exhibition hall building in National Taiwan University in 1963. We see here. It doesn't look like Chinese, but he used a lot of details that originated from Chinese architecture, even though the look doesn't look like Chinese building. But how we see that the panel here is empty for ventilation, very good, and for shading also. And at the same time, you use the Chinese way to make a tile to fit the hole. You can see the details, very interesting details. And the cardinal architect by church. And somehow, at the same time, also, in the meantime, also the Chiang Kai-shek, he built this Zhongshan building, Yami Mountain was designated for the National Assembly. Yeah, you see the building. The architect is Switzerland. Switzerland is a lady who studied architecture in Central University in Chongqing, and he came with the government after World War II. She was very close formation, and she tried to finish this building with those Chinese architectural details. I think, of course, at the time it was dominated by Chiang Kai-shek himself and his wife, Song-mei. But somehow, I mean, this building, sometimes you see some Chinese architect details, but more and more modern. You got the modern composition, just decorated with Chinese architectural details. And this is very fast. Okay, this is the shadow of Chen Xinquan and Yong Pei, who was elected by Getty Center, Getty Foundation for his very first 10 buildings to preserve, keep it modern 2 years ago. This is the huge chapel of Donghai University. At that time, it was really difficult to calculate those forces with this curved form. And this reinforced concrete making was a big challenge to Taiwan. This is by Wang Dahong house, apartment house building. No, this is logo. Fast. And I don't know if you can imagine or not. This is also by the lady Switzerland. She, except for the Shanshan building, Yangshan, the rest of her works is more expressionism in Taiwan. But for the plan composition, it's very symmetrical. But she tried to use reinforced concrete and making different forms. This is one of the building. And one interesting building that we used also is a bowling hall by Thailand architects. Then you can see those how they organize the roof system with the structural system. Downstairs for the ground floor, they use it for parking. Stairway leading up to the space with a curve stairways leading up to the third floor. And this is the second floor is the bowling. And you see the space. And for the people here to have their amusement, leisure, etc. And what we are lucky to have this because we seem to enter a time capsule here because it haven't changed since it was built in 1960s. So, but it's not abandoned, it's more or less abandoned. But you see the furniture, they use the original ones, they don't change the architectural details as well. That it's a building to be protected. And in 1967, Kangdeng Kenzo built plan for university, but finally they used it for girls' high school. This is the beginning of the high school, and this is the building here planned by Kenzo Kangdeng. Okay, that's a separate hall. I don't know, somehow they try to make it Chinese. But of course, you see that Kenzo Kangdeng tried to make a plan which is very modern. Finally, it is realized only this part, and the rest of the building was not built. This is one of the very important projects left by Kingdom Company in Taiwan. You see how he organized the space, and the stairways with the lights influenced by local museums, and some architectural details very influenced by tourism in the end of after World War II. The restaurant, and another building was a library now was designated to host researchers for Seminar Academy. Also by an architect, a female architect, his name is Wang. Her father happened to be the head of the Seminar Academy. This is by Wang, the foreign Ministry of Foreign Affairs. We see less Chinese details, but it's very symmetrical. He tried to simplify the details, but it's still very Chinese. At the same time, I think at the time, Wang Daohong was thinking of a modernized Chinese traditional architecture to fit to the modern society. Somehow he makes this Sunya Assembly Memorial Hall with this competition model, and he built this building with a big roof. We selected this building for Docomomo Taiwan, but since Anna and Anna was against for the roof, so I think it was elements too obvious for them to accept as a modern. So finally we take it out of the list. But I think we might in the future we have to discuss about this with Docomomo Macau and Docomomo Hong Kong maybe because or maybe even Docomomo China. We have some struggle. Architects they struggle for coming into a new era, but still they have. I mean, at the same time, don't forget it. In Taiwan, Chiang Kai-shek against Mao Zedong, the identity problem, cultural identity, national identity problem, etc. That's why he every important buildings he made. For example, Zhongshan building, Yangming Mountain, or Sunya Assembly Memorial Hall, they have Chinese top building. But still, even though these details, they still try to make it modern. Not so easily to make it very Chinese or use the Chinese details. Wang Daohong is one of the most important one who try to figure out, try to make all those details to modernize Chinese architecture. Instead of maybe a grand hotel in Taiwan, you know, it's just a copy the Chinese details with reinforced concrete. It's totally different. So because of the lack of time, I still have a lot to show you. But anyway, I think in the future we still have time to discuss about this. Thank you for your listening. 100 slides. Sorry for this. I just try to show you that at that time, the beginning of the 19th century, during the Japanese rules, they try to make it very European. But at the end of the Japanese rules, they have some influence by Europe, but a little bit more modern. And after World War II, those architects using the project, the modern architecture, country, they are either they receive their education in the United States, or by some European here in Hong Kong or in Shanghai. They hardly have some direct influence by Europe itself, but maybe a little bit more by the United States. So we can see in the end, I try to show you something that at the end of the building, or select the domain. Okay, sorry. I think it's a little bit browsing of modern architecture in Taiwan, and we try to collect more documentations and more details. Some of them you see it has been classified or inscribed as a cultural heritage, but some of them not yet. And we are struggling with the protection of the Docomomo University now, and they are giving pressure to the university. Thank you. Thank you.